Welcome, everyone. This is the Conservation Commission meeting. It is September 10th, 2020. And do we have a confirmation of agenda?
Yes, the agenda is fine as written.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Confirmation is approved. Can we have approval of the meeting minutes? Is there any discussion?
They're beautiful.
Yep, nicely written as always. Thank you. Motion to approve the meeting minutes as written.
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Meeting minutes are approved. Accounts payable?
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
All right. Well, then let's move on to our first public hearing, notice of intent in Groton Shirley Road, Ayer, DPW. We still have no DEP file number. So, Mark, did you want to give us a presentation, please?
Sure. Let me see if I can do this. Oops. There we go. So thank you very much. This is a project, basically, Groton Shirley Road is the, I have all the roads, pavement conditions rated in Ayer, and Groton Shirley Road is by far the worst if you've ever driven down. And so we've put off repaving it because we need to do some water and sewer improvements up there. This project involves extending the water main from the end of the water main, which is approximately house number 26, down to the driveway of the Hood Distribution Center. I think it's about 2,700 feet of water main. And then the residents also petitioned to have sewer installed in the road because a number of them have failing septic systems, and because of soils and wetlands and groundwater table, it's very expensive to repair them. So, so they put a petition together. We had an article at town meeting, and it was approved to put in a sewer system. We looked at the different alternatives, and the selected alternative, which was most cost effective, is what we call a low pressure system, which basically everybody has a little pump in their front lawn that pumps into a sewer force main out into the road. So the sewer is, it depends on where you are on the street because it gets progressively bigger as it moves up the road. But we would start the sewer at the James Brook Way intersection and then install it up to Groton School Road and tie into the gravity sewer at that point. The water extension will improve the water quality. It's a long dead end. We get a lot of water quality complaints in the neighborhood. The fire protection is marginal, especially if we have some sort of a water main break somewhere between Park Street and the end of Groton Shirley Road. And then also it'll improve the reliability for that whole area. So we're basically moving the water main around. And then after we put in the new water and sewer, then next spring we'll be regrading and paving the road, including construction of some 3-foot grass swales along sections on the south side of the road. If you ever get out there when it's raining, probably drive down tonight, the road's basically underwater. So, we'll be recrowning the road and then putting some swales in. And the project was approved, the funding was approved at the spring town meeting this year. A lot of the project is installed within the buffer zone. We will be installing it in the road. Now I'll walk through the locus of the project and some of the mitigation. We did submit to Natural Heritage. The project was exempt based on their criteria of utility installation and road pavement, and we did receive a letter from them today. And one of the other aspects of it, when we redo the road and the drainage system, there's probably about 5 trees that we're going to have to cut. If you, when you do your site inspection, I know I a couple weeks ago put some red ribbon around the trees. I'm not sure if it's still all there, but I walked down the road and picked out which trees we needed to cut, and they're basically right on the edge of the road anyway, so there is a public safety issue with it. So that's the limitation of the work. So some of the resource protection mitigation, the work will be within the paved roadway. We're proposing to install the wattles or filter socks at the edge of the road to prevent silt and soil runoff from entering into the wetlands. We'll sweep the road as needed or as directed once it becomes muddy and dirty. Material will be stockpiled away from resources. Any dewatering discharge will be filtered. We'll pave the trenches weekly, and then, as I mentioned, we'll do temporary patches this fall, and then in the spring we'll regrade the road. Here's the locus. Oops, let's see. So the hood distribution driveway is down in this area. So we're starting up at Groton School Road and installing the sewer down to about this point at James Brook Way. We do have an alternate because we don't have enough funding, then we probably will go as far as we can. These houses here, I don't think really need to have the sewer installed, and they probably won't connect because of the cost, but we do have an option if we go to this point. And interestingly, a couple weeks ago, I got a call from the town of Groton that's looking to put in some elderly housing up in this area, and we're wondering if they could tie in with a sewer. So that's something that we're talking about. That's a long way away, and there's a whole bunch of other issues related to that. The water main will pick it up at this location here, run down the road, and tie in with this driveway here. This just gives you an idea of a couple. Here's the typical road profile. As I mentioned, the road's in pretty poor condition. This is the last hydrant where we'll start the water main. There's also not really any drainage on either side of the road. Some runs down here into the wetlands. And then this photo here, there's a culvert just before the hood distribution. And we have a detail where we'll go under the culvert so we don't have to go into any of the wetlands. So just these projects, these are the design drawings, and they run so they run from west to east. So here's the hood distribution driveway. We'll tie into the existing water main here, run down the south side of the road. This is the color. You can see green is the flagged wetlands, and we also show the buffer zone where we are within the buffer zone. This is where the culvert crossing is, and we'll just excavate under the culvert and pipe at that point. You can see as we move down towards James Brook Way, you can see the wetlands now on this side of the road, and here's the buffer zone. So we are in the buffer zone. And at this point, we'll at James Brook Way, we'll leave a stub in case we ever want to extend the water up James Brook Way. And this is the location where the sewer is going to start running over towards Groton School Road. And so the resource area here is this end of the project.
Mark, you're kind of tailing off there. Can you?
Okay.
Quite
Can you hear me better?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
All right. And then as we move towards Groton School Road, again, we've got the sewer on one side, the water on the other. We need to keep a minimum of 10-foot separation as we get up to, this is the last house on the street. And so you can see that's where the water main will end. And we start picking up some wetlands behind on the north side of the road here, and so we are in the buffer zone a lot. Most of this distance. The next slide, let's see, and then here's the last stretch going up to Groton School Road. So we're right at we will be replacing this culvert here needs to be replaced, so we'll put in a new ductile iron pipe with head walls on either side. This is the details that are in the drawing. You can see here's our detail for the 12-foot filter sock, the dewatering bags, and the box culvert. How we'll 45 the water main underneath. We'll put it in a casing pipe so that the pipe is protected. But this is a pretty simple installation. As contractors do this pretty regularly.
Mark, is that just going to be dug, or does that have to be like directional board or anything?
No, it's like 6 feet, so they'll excavate on either side and just push a pipe through.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Just so you know, so we have a pretty detailed, about 250-page specifications that the contractor has to follow. And we do have a section on erosion and sediment control. We have a section on dewatering. So we pretty much have a lot of control over the protection of the environment and the resources in the project. And that's the end of the presentation on what we have planned. Let's see if I had any other notes I wanted to do. The schedule is, we're hoping to get started this fall. We do have to do the public bidding, and they'll get probably some of the pipe in, but I would expect that depending on winter conditions, they may have to shut down for the winter and come back and finish in the spring.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have. I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions or discussion, concerns from commissioners or Joanne?
Well, I of course always have some, but I'll let everybody else go first.
So Joanne, with regards to the document, the specifications that Mark just noted, have you in the past reviewed that already against like our special conditions and things like that? Does everything line up, or are there things that are maybe not quite what we're looking for? I don't know if you've ever had a chance to look at that before.
I don't usually look at it that way. And this one, honestly, I have been so busy, I haven't really had a chance to dig into this too deeply. I'm a little concerned on this one about the, I've never actually seen a wetland line sketched out the way this one was presented to you, Mark Wetzel. That was pretty interesting. So,
Okay.
do you remember the hand-drawn sketches?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that just field notes and then they laid them onto the USGS map? That was kind of weird. Yeah.
Right. So those, and I don't spend a lot of time reading what the wetlands people do, but she basically, those were her field notes and they were flagged, and then our surveyor picked up the flags in the field.
Okay. So she didn't give you any field data forms?
I can't say that she didn't, but I think I tried to submit everything I had, but I know some of the files were pretty large, and submitting them electronically, I had a hard time getting everything submitted to the state because they have a maximum size.
Right.
Break it into like 3 different packages. But if you need additional information, I can certainly contact them.
Okay.
I think from our perspective, we're going to be in the buffer zone for a significant amount of the project. I'm not sure if we have to exactly say that this is the edge of the wetland unless there's a question of that we're going to have a significant impact.
Okay, well, yeah, if we could get that additional information, I mean, if it's not that big a deal, if we can.
Well, I don't know whether they have it. I'll find out. But
Okay.
But if you could send me an email specifically what you're looking for.
Yep.
Sure.
I would think it would probably be, from my perspective, the area where you're going to put in those swales to the south of the road, because otherwise everything's in the road.
Right.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's well, I think a lot of this stuff will become clearer when we go on a site walk.
Yeah.
And then Mark Wetzel, there was just a little inconsistency with the notice of intent form regarding bank, and I don't think you're disturbing any bank.
I don't think we are either.
But there's a number on the line, so I'll put that in the email too.
Yeah, you know, I've been doing this stuff for 40 years, and I'll tell you, every time I do a notice of intent, it gets more and more complicated. And I don't consider this a complicated project. We're putting the utility down the middle of the road. And I'll tell you, it takes a long time to do that and put this whole thing together and get it submitted and get the notices out. You know, there's got to be an easier way. But anyway, so I'm not surprised that there's some errors on there.
Yeah, that's and it's a very easy thing to address. And I'll pick that up with you in email.
Any other questions, discussion from
Set a
commission?
time for a site walk.
That's what I'm wondering. If we should schedule a site walk. Are people available this Saturday morning?
I am.
I am.
I was planning to go bar hopping.
In the morning? Can you wait till noon?
Wait, that was my mud wrestling class. Never mind.
Can we do that? Have a site walk on is that the 26th?
The 12th.
And
Yeah, that's
12.
The 12th,
September 12th.
8, 7.
I don't think 7 o'clock's going to work for a bar hopping lady. How about 9 o'clock?
I could do 8 if you want.
We can split the difference. How about 8:30?
8:30.
8:30.
Alrighty. Are there any questions or discussion from anyone else who's watching this on Zoom?
I have a question, but I don't want to interrupt the hearing. I just want to ask, when are the 5 trees coming down?
That would be in the spring.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that's that we're kind of working out, and I've been talking with the town manager about as I'm reading more about the tree laws in Massachusetts, you typically should have a tree hearing on those tree removals. And so we will probably schedule that when we are closer to the point of
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
so
making sure you're not doing it like next week or something. So.
No. And if and when you go on the site walk, you'll see some of those trees and wonder why no one's hit them yet, because they're about 6 inches off the edge of the road.
I've seen them. Yeah. So thank you.
So what I tried to do was, when I walked down, was initially we thought, well, we'll put a whole drainage swale down that whole side. And then when I went out, and I'm like, wow, we're gonna have to cut down like 25 trees to do that. So I sketched it out so we could do what I call short swales and leave a lot of the trees out there. We just need to get the water off the road.
Yeah.
Any other people have questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Ken.
so for Mark, could you follow up a little bit about these swales of the drainage? And you said there's no drainage on the road currently. I'm familiar with the road. I've walked a bunch of times. And typically when we drive people through a process of road work, there's quite a bit of drainage involved. Could you explain a little more clearly how you're going to handle whatever drainage is created by the crowning of the road?
Right. So there was a drainage report done, and there was a calculation on the design of how we were doing that. But basically, we didn't want to have to put a pipe drainage system in. So I guess for lack of a better term, I would say we're putting in some mini retention ponds or rain garden type depressions on the side of the road. So basically, it drains pretty well out there once we get off, and there'll be grass lines, so there'll be some TSS removal also, but there won't be any outfalls from them.
But you would feel comfortable that it'll comply with whatever current regulations that either the town or a private person would have to contend with?
If we were building a new road, I wouldn't do it this way.
But it's going to be satisfactory to handle.
It'll significantly improve the road.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, yeah. Where are we going to meet on the road?
Well, that's a really good question. It's a pretty skinny road.
You can park at my house.
I think when you're down past the culvert by Hood Distribution, you can pull in there. There's some, both the Hood Distribution driveway, or there's some other pull-off areas there. It is a long walk to the other end, so maybe you do up to James Brook Way and then drive up the road from there. Or just guys can drive down from Groton School Road and park and then walk back. Because most of the resources is in that first half.
Well,
Right.
shall we meet at the Hood Distribution driveway then?
Sure. Yep. So, anything else with this? So is there a motion to continue the public hearing notice of intent, Groton Shirley Road, DEPW or DPW? We'd still have no DEP file number until September 24th.
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
I
Chairman votes aye. Thank you very much, Mark.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Take care, Mark.
All right, our next public hearing this evening, continued notice of intent, 0 Washington Street, Air Solar 2B. Do we have any, well, it's the DEP number 100-0444. Do we have any additional information concerning Air Solar 2B?
I haven't received any additional information, but I see we have Cal Goldsmith with us, so.
Yeah, blurring me, I guess. So the answer is no, you don't have any additional information, but we expect to have everything to the review engineer by Tuesday of next week, and in both hard copy and electronically, so that they'll be able to proceed with their review, and then we should be able to address it at the next meeting. That's the hope.
Okay, so we'll just continue.
Yes, please.
You've changed your look.
Just a bit, yeah. I cleaned it up just a little bit, but winter comes, it'll be back. Unless I have to wear an N95 mask when I'm ski patrolling, then I won't. But
No.
let's see.
All righty. So is there any comments, discussion from the commission or anyone listening about Air Solar 2B? So, all right, then motion to continue the notice of intent, 0 Washington Street, Air Solar 2B, DEP file number 100-0444 until September 24th.
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
I
Chairman votes aye. All right, thank you, Cal.
All right, thank you.
See you in a couple of weeks.
I'll hang on.
What's that?
Oh, he got muted.
We lost your
Yeah.
voice, Cal.
Oh, sorry. I'll hang on for the later discussion as well of the signing of the CR, hopefully.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Then our nice. Our next public hearing is the ANRAD off of Wright Road, DEP file number 100-0445. Do we have additional information concerning this project?
Well, we received a request to continue this public hearing to our next meeting from the applicant. And the piece of additional information we have is that Art Allen, our peer reviewer, and Seth Donahoe and I are meeting at Stratton Hill on the 17th at 8 o'clock in the morning to start the review of that wetland line.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. Any discussion? Is there a motion to continue the public hearing of ANRAD off of Wright Road, DEP file number 100-0445 until September 24th?
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
I,
Someone votes aye. All righty. Next item this evening is a public hearing, continued notice of intent, 0 Taft Street. Mr. Brian Anderson, DEP file number 2B assigned. Do we have any additional information on this project?
We have Brandon with us to explain where we are.
All right, sir, are you there?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Ducharme with Ross Associates on behalf of Brian Anderson. And I apologize, I got a plan to you guys late today. I don't know if Joanne received it. But since our last site walk, we took some of the feedback from the commission and provided some additional mitigation to our plan as presented last time. And essentially, much of this was as the result of some mowing that had occurred at the site, if you remember. So there was some existing maple trees that kind of ran along Taft Street and along Nashua Street. And what we're proposing to do is kind of use that as a physical barrier and substitute in kind of in between place boulders as well as 3.5-foot high cedar posts. Basically, we will set those about 36 inches apart, narrow enough to kind of prevent anybody from going through there with a mower or anything like that. Also, I got a copy of some typical signs that you guys have, and we put on the plan essentially that we'll put 2 of those. I kind of envision one being on one of the posts along Taft Street and the other one on Nashua Street, just to kind of, again, drive home that the area is not to be entered and maintained as landscape.
Okay. Did you
And
have-
the other thing we did is also that was mentioned was I sent along the DEP wetland delineation forms, and I just sent in also a copy of a revised narrative. There was a couple typos in there, so we kind of cleaned that up and sent that to you as well.
All
All
right.
right, and I'm just checking the office email, and I see that the plan arrived after I left work.
Yeah, I apologize. It's been, to be candid, it's been a back and forth with the applicant trying to come up with something that they could live with and that I felt would address your concerns.
Yep, I get it. So none of us has had an opportunity to look at the information that you sent in. There any discussion, questions from commissioners? Anyone watching?
when we were on the site walk, we talked about that pile of loam being spread, make sure it's spread outside of the resource area? Anybody remember that?
Yep.
I do, yeah. In particular, much of the site had actually come back and grown in with nice wetland vegetation. The area that was mowed, we kind of figured would be the ideal spot to respread that loam. I'm sure that's kind of grown back since then, but we also mentioned that if it be spread, that we should spread it outside of the wetland and then seed it with that conservation mix.
Yep. Was there going to be woody plants planted back in the?
We have not proposed any. No.
Okay. Any other discussion? So are we going to have to continue this until we can review the additional information? I'm assuming?
Yes,
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, then is there a motion to continue the public hearing? Notice of intent, Taft Street, 0 Taft Street. DEP file number 2B assigned until September 24th.
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
I
Chairman votes aye. All right, we'll continue this until the 24th.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Next item this evening is the enforcement order at 111 Fitchburg Road. We have some additional information on that.
even better than additional information, we have Paul McManus with us, who needs to unmute himself to give us an update. And I think I sent you all his memo about the situation out there today.
Mhm.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, good evening all. Again, Paul McManus from Ecotech. I did go out on the property and met with Joanne and a representative of the property. It was just my first time on, so I was trying to get my arms around exactly what the situation was and kind of where to go from here. So I'll just run through real quick. For those of you who, oh, there you go. These are, I guess, from my my report. So if you look at the upper right picture, you'll see there's a large parking lot behind the existing building there. There's an old earth berm, and then to the left in that picture, there's a flat area and then a slope down to the river, which you can see in the lower right. So in the upper left, you get an idea of, and in the upper left picture, that's facing a different facing with the parking lot to the left. You can see the slope with the big pine is again leading down to the river, and so what these folks did was they cleared some small trees and then a lot of the understory vegetation, and it's kind of a would remind you of a state park kind of setting where you still have the essentially closed canopy but open underneath. And then down in the lower left, you'll see there's a set of stairs that they built into the slope to get them down to the river. And those you can't see real well in there, but those are log stairs. I commented that they were the kind of things that looks like stairs that the Appalachian Mountain Club would build. They actually did a surprisingly good job, in my view, of getting these things in there. So there's been a number of activities within jurisdictional areas. Basically, this whole area that we're talking about is in the riverfront, in the inner riparian for the most part, and also in the buffer zone. They didn't actually do any work on the bank of the river. They got close, but other than perhaps a little bit of vegetation cutting. I'm not entirely sure, but they didn't do any physical alterations to the ground in there. So basically, I then kind of stepped back and looked at this work, and the other work that they want to do, which I should mention, is they'd like to put in some sort of a fence railing at the top of the slope. Again, this is a religious group. They have a lot of people out here at times. Part of their religious activities actually center on the water. You can see in the lower picture, which has a view over the stairs, they have several boats tied up. Thank you, Joanne. Boats tied up there, and so they'd like to get access to the water, for recreation and also for religious purposes, is my understanding. But clearly, again, this is all work in jurisdictional areas. So one of the things they want to do is to put in a railing up here. The railing or fencing, provided it doesn't impede wildlife movement, is actually something that would be an exempt activity. The vegetation clearing, certain amount of vegetation clearing, which the regs define as vista pruning, is also potentially an exempt activity. Now, the regs have a definition of vista pruning. The big limitation is not clearing more than 10% of the canopy, which I think they actually didn't do. But then there's a reference to not disturbing the understory vegetation. So I guess the issue there for the commission is kind of how do you view that, and what do you view as kind of the reasonable line for vista pruning? In vista pruning scenarios a number of times over the years. And frankly, there's a lot of discretion in terms of what you think is reasonable. In terms of the stairs are clearly not an exempt activity. That's a physical alteration. But the stairs, I think, are potentially permittable, even though they're in the inner riparian. They're potentially permittable as a water-dependent use. And in terms of water-dependent use, obviously the use is to get safely to the water. At this point, the stairs lead down close to the bank, but not to it, and then they kind of clamber along the bank to get to their boats and to get in the water. They would like, in the long term, to have a better access to the water, which I think in this case, at the bottom of those stairs, there's exposed bedrock. Where a ramp, I think, could be keyed into the bedrock out to a float. Would certainly have to be a seasonal thing. Couldn't withstand winter conditions, I'm sure. So that's something that these folks would ultimately like to do. But there's a number of things going on, like I said, and really some discretion on the part of the commission in terms of what you think is reasonable. So that's really in a nutshell.
Paul, could you answer a couple of questions?
Sure.
Looking at the stairs, are they, it's like a railroad tie?
They're logs. They're cut logs on the order of I'm going to guess 8 to 10 inches from memory. Yep.
And how are they held in place?
They're actually they cut into the ground and kind of set them in. They're exposed on the downward face and kind of at grade on the upward face. We had actually talked if they were to stay. I think we all agreed that it would be a good idea to put something, some 1/4-inch rebar or something like that through them. They've been through some significant rainstorms, There's some coarse sand that they put on the top. I asked them where that came from, and they said they basically just shoveled it up at the edge of the parking lot where the snow piles had dropped it. And they said one of the congregation members shoveled it into a wheelbarrow and brought it down, and they spread it just with shovels.
And underneath that is basically just dirt.
I think it's just the native soil underneath. That's my understanding. That's what it looked like.
And do you think with repeated use, hard use, that would not erode?
I think with some reinforcement, some vertical rebar going through, my sense is that they would be pretty good. I'm a big New Hampshire hiker. I see these things and kind of see what works and doesn't. And
Sure.
and I have to tell you, I was pretty impressed that a handful of amateurs built what they did.
Yeah. And the parking lot, where does that drain?
It just sheet flows off the edge. I'm not sure precisely where, but I don't think there's any drainage in that parking lot. Do you recall, Joanne?
I don't know that there is, and yet I also don't have the sense that it drains towards the river.
That was my thought. I wondered if it's going to drain down those steps.
Well, the steps are pretty far down the slope. Let's see. I don't see how I could tell you how far down the slope.
I would guess, on the order of 50 feet. Just
Oh, okay. I thought it was
very, very gross number.
Yep. And John, the first time I saw the steps and they told me that they were new steps, I said, "Are you sure?" Because they really look like they've been there. And I agree with Paul. They did a beautiful job.
Yep.
And it might cause more of a disturbance to take them out and replace them with something else. Hard to say, but they really are very beautiful. And I think we should all go over and take a walk. We're going to be right around the corner on Saturday morning,
Okay.
so that you can see the site, see the photos do a pretty good job of representing the site, but the stairs are really quite astonishing.
Okay.
They would, excuse me, I would add that on the bottom stair, Bopa from the property mentioned that they would like to replace the bottom log and extend it out right where Joanne has the cursor there. You can see right where she has the cursor, there's a little bit of light brown there. That's some of that coarse sand that washed back. For whatever reason, that lowest log I think is a little bit shorter than the others, or maybe it fans out a little bit. But they would like to extend that if the stairs were to get permitted and stay. I think that would make sense. But again, that's the stairs. The stairs certainly require permitting.
Okay. Can we go out there on Saturday morning and say 9:30? Pardon?
I'm wondering if the DPW thing might be a little bit longer because it's a long section.
10 o'clock?
Does anybody need to be there to meet us if we're just taking a look at this point?
Well, I think as a courtesy, I would let them know we're coming in, and I know the Bopa and the monk and the whole everybody in this community that I have met is anxious to connect with community members in Ayer. So I think if they can be there to meet you all, they would very much like that.
All right. So 10 o'clock?
So that gives us an hour and a half for DPW.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to be there?
If you would like to be.
That's a bit of a loaded question, but I'm certainly willing to be if the commission thinks it would be useful.
It might be.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think so, George? Okay.
Let me say this, Joanne. If
If we're just looking around.
Yeah, and I think I can do a pretty good job of telling them what to look at, and I can bring the septic plan with me that shows where the 100-foot and the 200-foot are, and so Paul, I think the flagging that we saw must have been put in as part of the septic system replacement.
okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, because it shows up on the plan, which is really helpful. So, Commissioners, this blue flag here, that's probably part of flagging that was done, I think, as part of the septic system replacement.
Paul, just a couple of questions. Do you happen to know if the logs that are used for the steps, are those the logs that they just cut from the trees they just cut, or whatever?
I don't know.
Okay. In the upper left-hand corner, the way the path is, I guess, covered, let's say, is that just a natural path, or it's hard to tell? Did they spread anything? Is it just the dirt?
I didn't see anything that other than the sand on the steps. I don't get the sense that they brought any material in. I think they probably raked up and removed some leaf litter and that sort of thing. But I don't think they brought in material other than that sand on the stairs.
Okay, it looks as if it has the same color of the deteriorated needles and such, and I just wasn't sure if it was anything different or not. So.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, and I think when we get out there on Saturday, you'll see that what looks like a sort of a trail here is in fact a path that gets walked by 13-year-old boys on their way to the train bridge over the river, so they can then jump off the same train bridge into the river.
I have to believe there's some 13-year-old girls who do that too.
Thank you,
I
Jess.
think 13-year-old girls are far more sensible than that. But maybe, who knows?
We're over on time on this, so I don't know if we want to move on.
Yeah, just quickly though, so Jess, you think we do truly need an hour and a half on the Groton Shirley Road? Because I'd be more inclined to do
I hope
9:30.
not. Well, okay, 9:30 would be fine. We would have to keep very focused, which is fine.
We can stay focused.
Okay. And just one quick question, Paul, would you be, it looks like we're going to need a notice of intent out of this, both for the stairs and also for the fence or railing. And Paul, would you be preparing that for them, or?
That's my expectation. I didn't. I initially just sent them a proposal saying, look, I need to go look at it, figure out what's what. I don't even know what you did, and what's required. At which point I would then come back. So that's my expectation, but I haven't actually been retained to do that because I haven't given them a proposal, not knowing what the scope was. So, but they are aware that that they need permit.
Okay. Any more discussion this evening? So we'll meet out there at 111 Fitchburg Road, 9:30 on the 12th, and take a look-see, and we'll continue this on the 24th. We need to make a motion to continue this.
It's a public meeting.
Yeah.
Don't think we really need to continue it.
Okay. All right. Paul, thank you very much for the information.
All right, thank you. I'm sure I'll be talking to you again about it. And at this point, I'm not planning to go on Saturday, but if people decide that you want me there, Joanne knows how to find me.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right, our next item this evening, public hearing continued. Notice of content, Sandy Pond Air Tap Road, New England Power Company, DEP number 100-0448. And do we have Allison with us this evening?
Hello, good evening. Allison Millman here from BSC Group.
Good evening. How are you this evening?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. So, anything else for us?
Joanne sent me the final draft for the order of conditions, and I've reviewed that with the client, and we've agreed upon the final document. So I'm hoping that we can have that signed tonight by the commission.
Okay. There was one thing that's minor thing, right? That just got.
Yes. So there was a special condition about removal of debris that may or may not be project related, that the client expressed some concern with, considering the fact that there are private landowners along the utility line that may have their own personal materials that she didn't want us to be responsible for. So Joanne was able to remove that from the special conditions, but we will be committing to removing any sediment or erosion control devices before we request our certificate of compliance.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other discussion? Questions? Comments? So is there a motion to approve the order of conditions? Sandy Pond Air Tap Row, New England Power Company, DEP file number 100-0448. And Jen, can you give us a second?
Second?
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. When you go out of the queue, Mark, it messes me up.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Just for the record, so I recuse Jess.
Yeah. Mark is recused.
Thank you.
All right, so order of conditions have been approved.
Good, so I've signed your names electronically, and I will go ahead and sign in ink. Which is done.
Very good.
Allison, I can put this in the mail by certified mail on Monday.
Okay, excellent.
Maybe tomorrow, definitely by Monday.
Okay, that sounds great. And if you don't mind, just email. Can we have an email version as well?
Sure.
Okay, that would be great.
All righty, thank you, Allison. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
So let's see, our next. I'm
Up.
sorry.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Keeps me honest.
Second.
Jen, you second.
Second?
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Yes?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. Mark has recused himself. Thank you, Jess. Next item this evening is the John Carroll Reserve conservation restriction. And I think we were getting close. Are we there or no?
Well, we are so close. We have come so far in the last 30 hours. It really has been an amazing effort on the part of town council and the town planner and myself and our town manager and the landowner's attorney. It really is remarkable how much we've managed to accomplish. And
Is there
and
any-
yet and yet so we have a draft that is acceptable to your administrator, the town planner, town council. It has not been reviewed by John Joya at the Division of Conservation Services on behalf of the state yet. And we, there's a little bit of a complication with our certificate of vote that allows me to sign in ink on, say, the document that we just signed, but it doesn't reach as far as signing a conservation restriction. So there are a couple of things that we could do. You could consider approving the last draft that you've all received. I can, let's see. We also got the updated plan. Oh, and yet I sent myself the wrong one. So on the real plan, there's the easement to access the open space is right here between lots 13 and 14. So you could vote to approve this pending John Joya and Division of Conservation Services approving of the CR. It would still have to be signed by the Board of Selectmen and the Secretary of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs.
And us as well, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
Could we, if we did vote to give provisional approval, could we then individually show up at your window and sign then?
Robert shaking his head, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
May I just make one point of clarification?
Please.
John Joya has to see the last final version of it. He's seen 4 or 5 versions of it all along the way and has been fine with it. So it's the last change that he needs to see. So he's very familiar with it. I wouldn't think he'd have an issue with it if you voted it tonight.
Robert?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Robert Pomeran, the Ayer Town Manager. Thank you and the Commission. If I could just address you briefly, and I echo what Joanne had said earlier. I appreciate all of her efforts, the town planner, town council's efforts, and everybody working to move this important project forward. As everybody knows, this is really the first OSRD for the town of Ayer. Last fall, I met with the applicant and GPR along with Joanne and the town planner. And the principal concerns for the town obviously was the creation of the homeowners association and that the homeowners association would fund the annual maintenance of the restriction. And I bring that up because I'm satisfied that the conservation restriction before you meets that. Additionally, as the Conservation Commission is aware that the Planning Board back on October 10th of 2019 issued a notice of decision, and specifically of importance is Section H of page 5 of that decision that clearly states that no certificates of occupancy or so forth can be issued until the final copy of the conservation restriction is on file with the town clerk. With all of that being said, the other issues that Joanne and I and others have been addressed, specifically the definition of the access to the restricted land in the conservation restriction that has been addressed. Reference to the HOA as well as the HOA annual maintenance is in there as well. and a lot of work has gone into it for the 11th hour. It's been reviewed by the town council. So respectfully, I think in the interest of moving this forward, I would recommend, and as Joanne has mentioned, that the commission would consider a vote to approve and sign the document. And then I know that you have a certificate. I'm sorry, Joanne, what's it called? A certificate of?
A vote.
Yeah, that a question has been brought up whether that authorizes Joanne or not by the applicant's counsel. I've asked our counsel to weigh in. What I'm getting at is if the commission voted to approve it and to sign it, if the certificate does meet the benchmark, then we could proceed as you normally proceed. And if it doesn't, as Commissioner Gugino mentioned, I would work with Joanne to safely facilitate the signatures. And if the Conservation Commission moves in that venue, the Select Board is prepared to meet on September 15th, next Tuesday, to do the same, to vote, to approve and to sign it. So I appreciate the consideration, and from my vantage point, and as Joanne mentioned, the interests of the town in the restriction are met.
Thank you very much.
Robert, can I just clarify one thing? If the commission votes to approve the condition, the CR as it's drafted, it would still be conditional on the state approval from the Division of Conservation Services. Yes?
Correct. And so when the Conservation Commission approves and signs, the Select Board approves and signs, and the state will either approve or sign, or if there's an issue with the state, would deal with that at that time. But that, I don't think that would prevent us from moving forward.
Okay.
And can I just say, thinking of the clarity of the narrative of minutes, this surfaced for us since our last meeting. Joanne, you were contacted just last week about this being put on the agenda. So the first that we have seen this or heard of this in months was just this past week. So just to put that in context.
Yeah, things have moved very quickly.
Yeah, we've done a tremendous amount of work in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, appreciate that. Any other discussion? Is there a motion to approve and sign the conservation restriction on pending a favorable review by the state reviewer? Did I say that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to, I'm sorry, were we going to do the physical signing, or are we going to allow Joanne to do the signature for us?
If Joanne can, then we'll go that route. If not, then we'll have to do a physical.
Okay, so we're voting on allowing Joanne to do the signature, or should we just vote on going and physically doing it such that that does not become a roadblock, I guess?
We do have a site walk on Saturday.
Right.
We could just sign it then, right?
Exactly.
Okay, let's just do that.
Well, you know what? Actually, if we're going to we can't really do that because we'd have to post it as a public meeting.
Okay.
You might be able to sign one at a time, Robert. Maybe you can help me out with the technicalities here.
If the commission, through the chair, Mr. Chairman, if the commission votes tonight to approve it and to sign it, that's the open act under the open meeting law and so forth. The actual then signing of it, if you will, is a mechanical act. So whether people come to the town hall one by one, or if you had everybody, they're just signing it. I don't think you would have an issue.
Okay. Would it be okay on our site walk too, Robert, do you think? Or
Yeah, because you're just going to be signing what you've already approved in open session. As long as the commission doesn't deliberate any of the substantive points or make any changes, that would be illegal. But just to sign it, you could do that.
Okay, great. Thanks for the clarification.
And actually, I think at least one of the signatures has to be notarized unless the governor has suspended that requirement, and that I don't know.
And we can check on that, and if that's the case, myself and the assistant town manager, notaries, or the town clerk, I think we can overcome all of the logistics.
Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just a question before you vote. It's not going to affect the vote at all.
Yep.
Joanne and Robert, is this conservation restriction, do you consider this to be a one-off, or do you think it's going to be a template for work for the future for other conservation restrictions that are going to be used for other OSRDs? Since you're putting a lot of work into it at the beginning, I'm hopeful that it is able to carry through to the future is what I'm getting at.
Mr. Chairman, or Joanne, if you want to go first, I can.
Oh, go ahead, Robert.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Diskin's question. Mr. Diskin, I think to some extent, to answer your question, to some extent it can be used as a template. Obviously, every project is different, so there'll be some variation. I had a long talk with Joanne and Mark Archambault. We talked at length that moving forward, we're interested in getting some professional training, not only for staff, but would welcome the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board specifically about conservation restrictions in moving forward. So to answer your question, I think it can be used to some extent. There's always variations. And I am committed to providing for everybody some additional information and training moving forward on conservation restrictions.
And I'll add just a little bit to that, Ken. The conservation restriction document itself starts with a template that's provided by Conservation Services Office. But it really is just a skeleton that we then have to put muscles on and clothes, and it becomes very project specific. But we don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Just the hubcap.
Does that help answer your
It helps,
question?
yeah. I'll follow up with Joanne offline.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ken.
One other question, I mean, how can we prevent this kind of rush in the future where some of the things that were in the planning board notice of decision didn't make it into the initial draft? And that got thrown at us at the last minute. How do we avoid that in the future?
Mr. Chairman, unless Joanne, you want to go first.
No, after you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, there's always learning experiences, as they say. I think that a lot has been learned, and I think after this, in addition to the training I talked about for everybody, including Planning Board and Conservation Commission and myself, interested in that, that we also meet to discuss sort of a pathway moving forward and managing expectations on both sides, the project side and the town side, as far as the timeline and what's involved in the conservation restriction. So there's definitely room for improvement on both sides.
Yeah, this really has taken up a phenomenal amount of your agent's time in the last couple of days, and I'm frankly amazed that we've been able to get this far in this short a time. But I personally don't want us all to have to go through this way ever again. So when Mark and I were talking with Robert this afternoon, Robert had the very good idea of developing a checklist and a timeline for conservation restrictions that would include the actual normal lead time to get something like this done. So 2 weeks is not enough time to get this done. This was a simple, really a very simple project, fairly limited access, but still required easements in the road, and plans needed to be created and changed. I think part of managing expectations, as Robert says, is making everybody aware that this is a multi-party agreement. It's not just a document that you pull out of a drawer. It's a negotiated a negotiated agreement, and both parties have to have their concerns heard and their needs met, and that takes a lot of back and forth. So here we are. We did it, and let's learn from this and try to do it differently the next time.
Well,
And what's our time, Jen?
always a learning curve, and we can only get better. Yep. Time?
We're just about done with this.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion quickly? So is there a motion to approve and vote on the conservation restriction John Carroll Reserve pending a favorable review by the state reviewer?
Second?
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. So we will sign physically on. Exciting. Yes, sir.
Through you, again, thank you to Joanne, Mark Archambault, the town planner, the project folks, everybody that worked on this, town council and the commission's consideration. It is appreciated. And so you will sign, and then this will be put on the select board's agenda for Tuesday, September 15th, for them to review, vote, and sign in the same fashion as what happened this evening. And
Great.
we'll keep you posted.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
Cal, hang on, John. Cal has something to add, and I have something to add after Cal.
Please, Cal.
I expect that we'll hear from the state fairly quickly. They've been very responsive on this. And I also want to echo and say thank you to town council, the town manager, and your agent especially, and Mark Archambault. You guys did an amazing job getting this done in time. And I think a good, clear timeline is a great idea. And I think it would be much less painful next time around. And Joanne, I echo your thoughts. I'm frankly amazed it got done as quickly as it did too. But,
yeah.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad we could help.
But before you thank us too much, Cal, the last signature you need to get is the Secretary of the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs.
Yep.
And John Joya, the
Reviewer.
CR reviewer, has a standing meeting with her every 2 weeks, specifically for this purpose. Their next meeting is tomorrow. So
When I hit down.
And their second September meeting is very likely going to be canceled because of vacation overlapping calendar problems. So Katie is probably not going to be available to sign this until the beginning of October.
Okay, well, we'll jump that hurdle next, I guess. Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate it. But,
well, you're welcome. You know, this is the local signature part, the Conservation Commission and the Select Board, and then the state also has to sign. And,
we are aware, but this signature and the Select Board signature has great significance to us, so we'll be in good shape with these. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good evening, Cal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you.
Our next item is a discussion on the special conditions boilerplate update.
not even a little bit.
Not even all of it.
In a little bit. Imagine that. No,
Yeah, you've been a little busy.
I was so hopeful. This is so important, and yet not tonight.
Okay, well, we understand. You've had a little bit on your plate. Alrighty, so next action item is discussion of status of moving forward with applications during the pandemic state of emergency.
All right, I got a couple of quick updates on this. I did talk to Tom Christopher, who's the environmental consultant working for the owner of 1 Bishop Road on the expanded parking area behind his business. And seems that there's sort of a friend who's a surveyor who has a friend who's a surveyor who's done a plan, and Tom is going to track it down and get it to us. That's what we're waiting for, is a surveyed plan. The surveying apparently has been done, but the plan hasn't been produced, and he assured us that he would get us that plan soon, and DEP is also waiting for the plan before they issue a file number. So I'm just going to be back on that, trying to get Tom to produce that plan for us.
Is this the guy that was expanding?
The dirt, right? Enforcement order dirt?
Yeah, Carlos Obregon behind the car detailing business.
Yeah.
I spoke with the environmental consultant working for Keolis on the MBTA RDA for their vegetation management plan.
Mm-hmm.
And they had initially been scheduled for our next meeting, but we've put it off one more meeting. I think I sent you the MACC notice about the public input part of this process. That's something we can all attend. And I think we should, anybody who can. It's an hour-long Zoom call. I think there's a fair amount of pushback from DEP in the direction of Keolis on how they're handling this 103 town RDA for their vegetation management plan. So that's the long way around saying that they're not coming to our next meeting, but they're coming to the first meeting in October.
Okay.
And then
Any idea as to what the pushback is and why?
I think if I can read between the lines, I think it's because Keolis and the MBTA can't really provide us site walks, and yet they're asking us to approve maps about where various vegetation management activities are going to take place, herbicides, mechanical cutting, but we can't confirm the locations of the wetland resource areas. You know, they've produced these maps, but nobody really knows the background of these maps, and Ayer has an awful lot of track that goes through an awful lot of wet places. In the past, I think Jess said that she went out once.
George and I.
And George. But they can't do that because of the pandemic. So I think that's where the pushback is coming from. Plus, the maps that they've sent us are tiny. They're 8.5 by 11 maps that I had to tape together. I know towns are asking for maps at a different scale that have more detail. So that's what I know. I'm planning on going to the public input session virtually, and anybody else who can join me, that would be great.
When is that?
How would this be any different from any other utility doing normal maintenance and just having to provide us just a notice saying, hey, just letting you know, we're going to be in here doing some maintenance, such and such, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think the train falls under that public utility. It's not sewer, electric, water. Robert's shaking his head, yes, yeah. I think it is public transportation. The MBTA line is public transportation, but that's not a public utility.
Okay.
Got about 10 minutes left of the meeting.
Okay. And then quickly on the violation letter that I sent to 21 Oak Ridge Drive, the family that lived there was very welcoming when I went over and talked about the soil they've placed on the edge of Flanagan Pond in an effort to keep their kids from sledding down the hill and going out onto the ice. And they welcome a site walk. I think you guys really need to see their whole setup there. It's they've got a lot of landscape improvements underway, most of which are outside the 100-foot buffer. It's probably really too much to add to this Saturday. This, we're going to be, it'll probably take us an hour at their house to sort this all out. But I really do think you need to have eyes on it.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen it. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So it's not on the, it'll be on our next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we can schedule a site walk after that.
Yeah. That's all I've got.
No, so that's your updates?
Yep.
Any updates from commissioners?
None here.
Tickets. How much we got? We got 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Maybe we could close out early and then save this 8 minutes for our next meeting where we've got a lot on the agenda.
You think it's going to work that way?
I don't know. Robert?
Yeah. This is like a bank account.
I think so. Yeah, maybe with interest.
Right.
Oh, Cindy's there.
I do like the way
I
you
defer
think.
to the town manager.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
George, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
Jess?
Aye.
Chairman votes aye.